This is the Church of Reason. Joining us tonight, international authority and free thinker, Mr. Winston Wu, spiritual leader of the Happier Abroad Forum. Welcome back, Mr. Wu. Your followers are anxious to hear your evaluation.
America seriously lacks social connection. It feels awkward to even try to meet people. Everyone wants to be left alone. There's like a cold ice wall between strangers. People don't talk to strangers unless it's business related.
Seems like some unspoken rule.
This is sort of an unspoken rule. When you're out in public in America, you sort of know this. It's obvious from the body language and the behavior of everyone around you that you're supposed to keep to yourself and leave other people alone and don't bother other people. There's this tension between people that separates them. It's like a wall of ice.
People who never traveled outside the US probably ignore this.
The thing is, unless you travel the world or have lived in other countries, you think that's natural, and that's how everybody is. Everyone is isolated in a bubble and wants to be left alone. No matter how lonely you are, you're not supposed to bother other people. You should have your own friends. Never talk to strangers unless it's for business. Outside North America or Northeast Asia, most countries are not like that. They're very inclusive. You can talk to strangers, you can have interesting conversations, you can make new friends, and it's just like in the movies.
And how can we learn more about this, sir?
If you look at my website, happierabroad.com, you'll see a lot of proof in videos and photos that in other countries, meeting people is just like you see in the movies. It's super easy and natural.
Have you done this sort of thing very often?
I've experienced it thousands of times.
It's bizarre this subject is never mentioned in the media.
Nobody talks about this. In the mainstream media, all they want to talk about is something useless like racial equality, which they blab on and on about for no end.
That's absurd.
It's useless to talk about that because you can't change your race, and if somebody wants to be racist, lecturing them about racial equality is not going to change their minds. And you're never going to have people all pretend to be colorblind. People are always going to discriminate based on looks or race or colors. That's just the way the world is. It's just human nature. People don't see everyone as the same. They see people as different, and lecturing people all day about racial equality accomplishes nothing.
What a shameful waste of time, indeed.
The U.S. media is just wasting millions of dollars of airtime every day. It's just really stupid and moronic. They need to focus on things that you can change, something practical that is within your power to change, and something that's achievable.
The liberal media certainly talks a lot about racial integrity.
Racial equality is not something achievable, and it's not even a goal that's natural or normal. It seems like it's just Marxist communist ideology being thrusted at people.
However, you are fervently against racism, aren't you, Mr. Wu?
I'm not saying that racism is a good thing, but lecturing people about it all day doesn't accomplish anything. It's a waste of time. Why don't you talk about something real and achievable?
The problem is that alternative media is not always a reliable source of information.
With the alternative media, you have this obsession that the government is getting tyrannical and about to take away all your freedoms and rights, and they're coming for your guns and taking away your sovereignty. America is no longer going to be a free country.
But what if some of this is true? That's a frightening thought, sir.
I am a truther, and I agree with some of that, but it's way exaggerated. Talking about conspiracies isn't going to change anything. It's not something you can do anything about. All you can do is let the bad guys get their karma eventually.
My apologies, Mr. Wu, but I must insist. On vaccines, do you agree with Dr. Fauci and Bill Gates?
If the government is involved in a conspiracy by the deep state, you can't do anything about that. It's out of your hands. So why talk about it all day? Why don't you talk about something that can be changed? For example, moving to a different country or state or culture that has friendlier people that make you feel better, make you feel more confident and cheerful with less social anxiety. That's something you can do. Buying a plane ticket to change your location.
A very pragmatic approach, certainly.
It's something possible. It's something practical. It's something you can change. You move to a location that you fit into better, that is more friendly to you, that gives you what you want, that gives you better vibes.
Are you saying this is a guaranteed path to happiness?
I'm not saying this is for everyone. Some people are happy in America and do have a lot of friends. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm just saying that this is an option for some people, and it fits some people's path, though not everyone. But this is never talked about. Never.
Mr. Wu, you are among the few who dares to denounce this state of affairs.
Mainstream media doesn't talk about it, the alternative media doesn't talk about it, and it's only gotten worse from 1985 till today. Worse and worse and worse. I don't see how much worse it can get, and it's really sad.
But why is this never talked about? It's quite puzzling.
Why nobody ever talks about this? That's something I've wondered about for years. I guess it's sort of a taboo because in American culture, you're not supposed to say that people are not open or they're too closed or not friendly. It's just kind of a taboo because there's this expectation in American culture that if you're lonely and you can't make friends or find a girlfriend or a boyfriend, there's kind of this expectation that you're supposed to only blame yourself.
Can you give us an example, sir?
For example, you're allowed to say, I'm too shy and introverted to meet people, so that's why I don't have a lot of friends. I'm just shy and introverted. You're allowed to say that because that pins the blame on you. Or you're allowed to say, I work too much. I just don't have time to meet people or find a girl, because that is blaming yourself. You're saying you have to work a lot, and so your job is what takes up your time, and so you can't just go out there and meet people.
Your neighbors probably assume you just masturbate all day long.
It presupposes that if you had the time or you weren't shy, that if you just went outside and became very outgoing, that, oh, you would have a lot of friends, just like you see in the movies. So easy, it would come so naturally, blah, blah, blah.
That doesn't make any sense. It's absurd.
And of course, we know that's not true. Some people do have a lot of good luck making friends easily. Some people do get lucky with that, and nobody knows why, but some people don't either. It's not because those people that are lucky are more attractive. Sometimes they're just average looking. It's not because they have better social skills or communication skills. No, they're just average people having different experiences.
This is extraordinarily perplexing.
There's not a logical thing you can pinpoint. I could be the most outgoing person in the world, very sociable with strangers, but if nobody wants to talk to me, then it's useless. I'm out of luck. It doesn't matter how outgoing I am. If people aren't interested, that's out of your control. For a lot of people, that's the case.
Don't miss the final part of the American Meltdown when we return after a short break. Don't nobody go nowhere. You are listening to The Church of Reason.